So if you search up most famous paintings on Google, you'll get a long list of examples. And here are some of the top results. So if you look closely, it might not seem so obvious at first glance, but all of these works do have one thing in common. And it's that the artists that made these works are all men of European descent. According to Tate Museum in London, England, there are only 5% of museums in London that represent an equal number of male and female artists. A 2018 survey of permanent collections in 18 prominent art museums in the United States revealed that out of over 10,000 artists, 87% were male and 85% were white. So why does this discrepancy really matter? And honestly, out of all things, why does the art that we see matter? Viewing art, whether it's a painting, a sculpture, a video, or etc., helps us to analyze and then translate to others what we see. An artist's work can be a reflection of the time period, speak about a particular detail in society, or offer us a glimpse of what goes on inside the artist's mind. Thus, if most of the artwork put out there is made by white heterosexual males, then that is the perspective that most viewers will be fed. Women are the focus of so many famous paintings throughout history, such as the Mona Lisa, Girl with the Pearl Earring, The Birth of Venus, just to name a few. The female nude is the primary subject of figure study. A woman's body, her clothing, her hair, her face, are also all popular themes in the art world. So, as the English art critic, painter, and writer John Berger put it, in art, men act and women appear. The human experience is so diverse, so how can one better capture the flavor of an experience than through color, shape, different materials, and/or movement? For those of us with the ability to see, there's immense power behind the visual. Most of what we perceive is through sight. We rely heavily on our eyes. 80% of it is what we rely 80% on our eyes to perceive things. So to some extent, seeing is believing. And it becomes an issue then when, according to the National Museum of Women in the Arts, more women earn bachelors of fine arts at 70% of students. Yet today, women make up less than half of the number of working artists at 46%. And of course, we can't forget the lack of representation given to those who identify outside the binary. Most art is made by men, and I don't mean at all to undermine their talent. There are so many works by famous artists that we've all heard of before, such as those of Da Vinci, Van Gogh, Picasso, Warhol, that I find fascinating and ingenious. And it'd be amazing if I could take whatever I make and hammer it onto a museum wall to give people like me more representation, but it's not that easy. And it's not genuine either to just hand out opportunities and call it a day. We're not respecting the person's hard work or talent. There are, of course, the obvious and frankly horrid acts of hate and disrespect toward marginalized groups today. But there are also the ones that are subtle and not really easy to point out, yet still equally dangerous. The art world is not immune to this subtlety. And I, of course, understand my limitations as a young person. I sometimes have to catch myself before adding meaning to characteristics that people can't change so easily, such as race or sexuality. And nor did I realize that a beautiful painting can at times have a sexist underbelly. That is why I want to try to contribute by pushing others as well as myself to question what we see, to look a little further, and take time to be more conscious. So the next time you walk out of an exhibition or a gallery from a museum, ask yourself, whose works did I see today, and who actually might be missing from the picture? Why is that the case, and how may we have gotten to this point? President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the National Endowment for the Arts with the idea that art is a nation's most precious heritage. For it is in our works of art that we reveal to ourselves and to others the inner vision which guides us as a nation. And where there is no vision, the people perish. So if art really is made for everyone, we have to help one another and make it that way. Thank you.